Hi, this is Lakhi Singh, the property fixer, here to fix you and help you grow your property and your business affairs to the next level. So if you're looking for knowledge and insights about how to get involved in property, solve your problems about scalability in your property business, then do watch our 20-minute clips. We've taken them from hundreds and, well, thousands of videos that we've taken over the last 6 months, and we've broken them into simple chunks which can make them useful for you. So do watch and do subscribe to our YouTube channel underneath as well.
Good morning, United Kingdom. Good morning. We have our favorite VIP, Mr. Ninder Singh Johal, this morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing, sir? Lakhi Singh, I think, is flipping in and out of backstage. So when he gets back on, we will talk to him. Otherwise, I'll block him out for 15 minutes. Maybe a good way of getting out my anger this morning. Right. So the topic for today being, we're talking about, we revolve a lot around business and property, but this morning's topic is regarding buying repossessed properties as auction. So it's a unique little niche there. So for a lot of the audience, it's probably very daunting because, buying assets or things at auctions, unless you're not familiar with the protocols of auction and the mannerisms of auctions, it can be somewhat daunting or confusing. So we're going to discuss, can we buy or can you buy repossessed properties at auction, and what are the various techniques. We'll discuss what a repossessed property is and why it would be in auction, and what is an auction in its real sense, and what the landscape for auction is now. Is it changing? Is it becoming, like I just discussed before we started, is it all becoming a bit more online, etc.? Is on, right? Okay, we should allow him in, otherwise I was going to just let him out for 15 minutes. Morning, Lakhi Singh, United Kingdom, the property fixer, the ixer, the mixer, the mover, the aker, the shaker. How are you doing, sir?
I'm fantastic. How are you guys doing?
Making moves in the square of Berkeley, were you?
That's right. I've been working backstage, as always, 10 to 8.
Were you moonwalking in Berkeley, were you?
That's right.
Excellent, sir. We have Ninder Singh here. The roles have been reversed. It's as if Ninder and I have taken over the show, and Lakhi Singh is our guest. Let's hope for the future. Mr. Singh, or Lakhi Singh, topic for today is how to buy repossession properties from auction. So two components: repossessed properties. What are they about? Where do they come from? Are they like a love child? Are they where do these things come from? And what is an auction? What are the principles or the main features of an auction? The landscape of auction, has it changed? Where will people buy properties from if they are going to buy from auction? And if the auction sites or this auction houses close down because there isn't enough properties going out there, what's going to happen? That is the underlying topic for today, but we're going to deviate as we normally do, because we've got Ninder Singh Johal, who is more on the business side and gives us another angle, looks at things top downwards. It gives us a feeling as if Mr. Boris Singh is here giving us advice about how to look at business and finance and the economy as well in some respects. So before I start, what's the weather like in sunny, is it Birmingham? Are you in the Midlands, are you, sir, Ninder?
It's not far from Aston. We've speaking about that, so it's
yes. Whereabouts?
It's drizzling. Bearwood Edgebaston.
Drizzling, excellent. That's good news. Good news for people who suffer from hay fever. Lucky's probably loving it. Is it drizzling in London, Lucky?
Drizzling here as well. So drizzling. It's perfect for me.
Perfect for you. Yeah. So one man's drizzle is another man's cure, as I would say. So, Ninder Singh, sir, tell us, before we go into the topic of, and the saying of the weekend is quite interesting, if I can remember it. What is it? All of us. So everyone thinks of changing the world. Nobody thinks of changing themselves. Very deep, very introvert. So Ninda sir, what do you have to say? Say you what on that topic? Everyone thinks about changing the world. What about changing yourself? What have you had those experiences where you've had to change yourself first before you've changed the environment around you and then the general world?
Yeah, if you think about the fact that I've worked in entertainment, record label business, I've worked running my own publishing company. I've also run an events production company. So whilst the skills are transferable, I think you can only move sector to sector if you're happy and willing to change. And if you're willing to change your mindset, if you're willing to learn from others, if you're willing to accept what you're good at and what you're not good at, and whatever you're not good at, you refer to other people who are good at it. And I think if you have an open mind, a mind that's susceptible to change, that accepts change is the norm now, by the way. It's not, if you don't change, you are going to get left behind. I know you're going to be speaking about auctions, but, are people now open to online auctions? Are people now seeing that as the norm? Are you open to that? And if you're an auction house, have you adapted to the new product? So I'm afraid change is now the norm. It's something you should be expecting on a daily basis. Listen, 10 years ago, if you'd said to somebody in Blockbuster, by the way, you're working behind this till, renting out films, I think in 10 years you'll be behind a desk managing someone in social media, they would have said, well, hold on, what social media, what management, what's this online stuff? I'm only used to it. So, and change is now, I think the cycles of change are getting shorter and shorter, if that makes sense. So in other words, technology means things are changing much more rapidly than they've ever been. So I think in conclusion, if you're not open to change, you're going to be history.
Excellent. As I said, we always have a feeling like we're speaking to Boris Singh, not Inder Singh. So going to you, Lakhi Singh. Now, the nature of the beast is, Ninder paints quite a rosy picture of change in terms of, you mentioned a few critical things there, looking for people who've got the knowledge, to seek the knowledge to actually enact the change. But isn't surely the nature, you're sitting in the square mile, the beast, the center of the economic world, Lakhi, sitting there, are people that open to be giving you that knowledge for you to change? Does there have to be some quid pro quo? Is it that easy to get the knowledge to change? And is it change or is it diversification? What is it? And
before you jump in, can I just say, Mr. Vijay, that was a nice bit of Latin there. It was Latin, wasn't it?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Yes, thank you so much. I just picked up this. I read that this morning. I thought I'll just try it, see if it works. Okay, sir. Coming over to Lakhi Singh, sir. Yes. Tell me, is the nature of the beast that which is going to allow you to seek knowledge from other sharks? Because you're like a seal with the shark fin, apparently. That's the description people give you, that you're the nice man of the square. Is that correct, sir?
I try my best to please.
Well, that's probably more Soho. I'm talking about Berkeley Square, sir.
Okay, so I think Mayfair is a different beast altogether. People don't really have time for the niceties most of the time. It's just sort of like a New York type culture where it's if you're in the midst of it, it's basically people are not really there to help you, unfortunately, 99% of the time, unless it's you meet a character like Mahatma Gandhi or Nelson Mandela in Mayfair. It's a bit different. But on the whole, it's very, it's very sharp practices happen in Mayfair. If you're not on the ball, then you're just going to get eaten up and chewed out and spat out. So unfortunately, you have to be on your game to be able to work in Mayfair. And if you're seen to be somebody who's gullible or not keeping up with the change, you're just going to get ignored. It's not going to be, people are going to sniff out really what your profile is just literally by talking to you for a couple of minutes. And if you're not really on the ball, they're just going to say, well, this guy's got no clue about what he's doing. So, and if you don't come to the realization yourself, then not many people are going to be telling you either, because they don't have the time and they're not going to trouble themselves with their time to do that. Unfortunately, that's the way Mayfair works. So
yeah, but what Mindy says is, okay, so you're in the belly of the beast, as it would say. You're there in the center of the capitalistic world where things move and shake. The question Linda has, he's saying you've got to be able to accept change, and this comes from the topic or the saying of the weekend that people talk about changing the world, but are you changing yourself? What about your self-change? Now he is making a valid point that I think the spans in between changing of business modes or changing styles of business is going to be quite short. There's going to be so many things happening now because of technology that one day you will be, as you are now. Tomorrow, I'll see you with a chip stuck in your forehead or something. That's how quickly things are going to change. And he gave an ideal example of Blockbuster. Now, if we go back to Blockbuster and go back before Blockbuster, or before Blockbuster became a corporate, remember there were VHS videos. And would have anybody thought that VHS videos or the video shop, the small outlet that was on the high street, that was going to go out of business because something like Blockbuster was going to come along that was able to stack thousands and thousands of CDs in one place, and video games, and online gaming systems. So, but the timelines between those changes were quite, if you look at it in today's timelines, were quite long. So video shops were around for a good 5 to 10 years before CDs became, the new technology, and before then videos or the hiring of videos went out again because people went back into the cinema halls. So in some respects, there's been a cycle of change. But I'm asking you that question that Ninda raises, and that is, do you find knowledge being transferred in the belly of the beast? Are you able to get people to mentor you, or for you to mentor, and for the nature of business, the capitalistic world, which is about greed, which is about revenue, does it allow you to change, or are you going to have to do a lot of internal changing yourself? Yes, Lakhi.
I think the majority is internal changes because, like I said, it's very much about me in the Mayfair. So people aren't really going to be going out of the way to share their knowledge lest they're going to get something out of it. So you've got to be on your own ball. You've got to do your own R&D. You've got to do your own research. You've got to have your own innovations. And the only way organizations will work with you if they can see some sort of major benefit and there's a mutual benefit.
Okay, so what have you done on your business that's about innovation? Have you innovated? Have you changed the way you're doing your business, Lakhi?
the way our business works is different from any other business that I've ever worked for, because 90% of the work I tend to do is around innovation. So everything we do is about solving problems. So currently we're working on a prop tech project, which is to completely ignore what's happening in the market for property sales with Rightmove and Zoopla, and look at really how is the market going to be like for the next 3 years, and how do we solve the problem of the new marketplace for clients who want to sell quickly, or buyers that want to buy deals.
I'm gonna hold you there. Prop tech sounds sexy in some respects. Move over to Ninder Singh. Tell me what it is that's happening in the music or the entertainment industry, or your principle was event production. So now you moved over to publishing. What's happened in that? I know we have e-magazines. You've got your magazine. Is it also in electronic form? But how do you sell it? What's the unique feature of e-magazines that people will want to buy e-magazines and not want to buy a physical magazine that they can throw around the office or swap flies with? So
I think, again, just referring to change, I think part of the thing you have to do if you're, and it doesn't matter which sector you're in, you have to understand how your customer's journey is changing. So how does your customer
like that? Customer journey, excellent.
Journey, and we've spoken about this before, but in the music industry, we failed to track the relationship between technology and the customer journey changing because of technology. So we were content to selling CDs and music cassettes and vinyls, and we never saw the shift of the changing consumer behavior because of technology. We just didn't see it. And so we were like heads in the sand when everybody started to download. So if you now take the wider entertainment sector and you think of cinemas and you think of COVID and you think, well, if people still want to consume, that's the customer, still wants to consume entertainment, then how are they going to do it? And so if you take Bollywood now, the whole Bollywood industry is decimated because people can't go into cinemas. And so where are they now tuning to? Well, they're now going to Disney. So Disney are now showing these Bollywood movies. And so the worry for the cinema chains, and we've heard about Cineworld shutting down only a couple of weeks ago because James Bond's film has been now moved to next year. So the problem now for cinema operators in the world of entertainment is, will the customers ever come back? And what do we have to do? How do we have to change to reflect the change in consumer behavior? So for us, as an event production company, we knew that people will now no longer be coming to events. So how do we continue to keep our brand alive? How do we continue to keep our relationships with our stakeholders, the sponsors, and how do we keep our dialogue with our audience, our customers who've been coming to these events? And we worked out quite quickly that had to be through a digital format. And at our events, not only can you mix with people, but you learn about what's going on in the world. So we thought a digital magazine, but a physical one is also available. A digital magazine was our best route, in other words, using the online scenario, to continue to have a dialogue with our audience, our customer. And that way, we're able to stay in touch with them and understand and reflect any change in that consumer's journey.
But with all due respect, Ninder, people who are up to listen, and remember, music is across gender, cross age. It's just a taste thing. So if you're into classical music, whether it's classical Hindi music or classical contemporary or classical art, in terms of the classics within classic musics in the Europeans, it goes across all bounds. So when you say e-magazine, I'm going to think who is it that's going to want to read about music? Is it only the people who produce music, the events management companies, the people at a hierarchy